Hello there, you're welcome to Morning Art and TV. When it's Wednesday or Thursday and it hits 8:30, you know it's time for us to talk business, right? Now, in the last episode, we had some real conversation about debt and the feedback that was coming in fast and furious. You still need a lot to be unraveled to do, with matters to do with this topic. And so we said, hey, why not do that? Now, debt is something that many people, especially those in business, are not often comfortable talking about. So today we're gonna go there, have those hard conversations. Many businesses have actually gone under before their maturity because of debt. Some prominent people have been thrown behind bars because of debt. Even families have lost homes because of debt. But unfortunately, just like a breath, debt cannot be avoided. Yes, or maybe you can avoid it, but you cannot run away from repaying that money if you're in debt. So how can someone acquire and manage debt comfortably or in a more acceptable and manageable way? That's the conversation we'll be having this morning on Business Updates. Today, in this segment, I'm joined by my colleague in the industry, Mr. Godwin Muhanguzi. He is a financial literacy expert, and today we're getting it real. So the hashtag is Morning at NTV. Welcome.
Thank you, Mala.
You're welcome.
And good morning, NTV.
Good morning. Let's talk about debt. But first, let's describe and define debt. Because we think we understand what debt is, but we don't.
Sure. Debt. Who is a debtor? A debtor is someone who owes money to someone. It could be a bank, it could be an individual, it could be a supplier, someone who gave you goods if you're into business. So that is a debtor. So most of us confuse a debtor and a creditor. And the creditor is that one who supplied you, so you owe them money.
Correct.
I hope the difference is very clear. So we're going to talk about debt, which comes to debtors, not creditors. We're not talking about credit, we're not talking about creditors, we're talking about debtors. Managing personal debt. So what is a debt? A debt is when you owe, I've already said, money, someone. And that money is not a donation.
You have to pay it back.
It is something you must pay back.
Yes.
So much or most times, people take in money, maybe thinking the person who gave them the money will forget or will forgive them. It will become a donation. Even if you borrowed from your husband, as long as you said, lend me some money, I'll pay back.
Yes.
So it's a debt that you need to pay.
Provided you say lend me.
Lend me.
When the word lend is
the only
used, it becomes
difference
a
is
debt.
that it may not attract interest.
Correct.
But now we need also to be very careful and talk about the debt which attracts interest.
Let's talk about that, because like you're saying, if I borrow money from my sweetheart or husband or sister, family, it might not be necessarily debt that accrues interest. It could be interest free, but I have to pay it back. So let's talk of the two. There's debt here that attracts interest, and there's debt that is interest free. Talk about that.
Yeah, for the sake of time, let's talk about what worries people most.
Yes.
Because there are not many cases where your husband will throw you in jail because they lent you money and you're failed to pay.
Yes.
But let's now really be realistic and talk about, I went to borrow money from a bank, from a money lender, or I have money from my supplier and it accumulates interest. That's very dangerous because you will pay that money. And the more you stay, the more the interest goes high.
Right.
So, why do people borrow much of the time? I said last time when I was here that never borrow to start a business.
Good.
Never. Because it will never work. You can only borrow to grow an already existing business, an already existing brand, or borrow for that reason. Because you see, the essence of borrowing should be only that I borrow, I take in money, I take in some money from someone, and I'm sure that it should be able to grow. That money should be able to grow, that investment should be able to grow, and I earn profit. But if it is just to gamble, then it can never work. And that's the reason why it explains this. Most businesses start, but they never see their birthdays.
Correct.
because, I mean, someone borrows because they have seen a small business somewhere, really picking up and say, I think I can also do the same. But they have not thought about the business, they have not thought about the location, they have not thought about the market, they have not even done any market survey. So what is easy for them to think through is to go and borrow money. They run to a commercial bank, they have security, and you have security, and anyone to give you money, and when you have security, they are very happy to do it.
Yes.
Because after all,
If
the
you
money
don't pay
you
back,
take, but the money also you take
Yes.
is far much lower than the security you give in.
Yes.
Yes,
Like
I've also
land titles,
yes.
you know.
If we get time, I've also seen people borrow for introduction functions, for weddings. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's some maybe there's some earning they get from that. But
So what we agree is that do not borrow for business unless you have a clear business case to defend. If you have a clean strategy, that could be acceptable if you have a financial expert with you to guide you through the way. But if it's just a matter of you saw your neighbor start off like a business and it's doing well and you don't have the money to start it, then going to borrow then, and you don't have a clear plan, especially from an expertise point of view, don't go there.
yes, Malan and the rest of the viewers, I think let me be
Yes,
very clear.
yes.
What we are talking about is financial literacy.
Correct.
And this is just a section of it, the debt management. So not every debt is bad. Let people not misunderstand us.
Yes.
There's actually good debt.
Let's talk about that. We
Yes.
have two types of debt.
I'll give you a good
There's good and
example.
bad, yes.
I'll give you a good example of a good debt. Someone goes and picks a mortgage because they've been renting. It's been very expensive for them to rent, but now they've picked a mortgage. At the end of the day, they own the house and they will not rent anymore. But also they will have a property in their names. That's a good debt.
Okay.
You get my point?
Yes.
Someone is taking in money to add on the stock on the already existing well-doing business. That's good date. Bad date. Someone is borrowing to buy a car, like for John at work.
Yes.
But also someone takes it to a higher notch, even borrows to buy fuel. You get it? Someone buys a car, borrows to put new tires, borrows to even put the fuel that starts the vehicle from the bond. That's an extremely bad date, because that car will not earn you. It's not an investment. No, it's a cost.
It's a liability.
It's a liability, and it's a cost, and it's not actually a one-off liability, but it will keep having issues.
Yes.
It's a car. It will break down. It's a good car, but it will need fuel. It's a good car. It will need service. So that's a bad date.
Yes.
Another bad date, not to discourage people from getting married, but I honestly go to borrow money from a money lender with a huge and abnormal interest rate for me to do a wedding. That's extremely bad date. What you're going to do is very good. We wish you
The best.
the best to wish you the best. We'll even attend your reception at Serena.
Yes.
Eat your
Eat your
nice
food.
food. Do some bit of strokes, dance with you. But after that, what will you do? Because you will choke with the debt. And in that case, will they come and pick your bride? As I don't know. Because probably you, I mean, if it was a good debt, why don't you put in your bride as security?
Wow.
But I want to presume someone put in maybe their land title as security. Maybe we
Yes.
need also to be a little wise. Maybe you hand in your bride as security, if it's allowed.
That can never happen, of course.
That means it's an extremely bad
Yes,
thing to do.
yes, yes.
Yes.
Let's talk about this other type of debt that many parents, fall into, thinking that, you know what, there's nothing else I can do. I need to make sure that I sustain my child in school. Borrowing to pay for school fees. And I think this is where majority fall. Is that a bad or good debt?
Extremely bad. Extremely bad. Because I don't think it's a wise idea to go to the bank to borrow to take your child to school. Yeah. I know no one does it because they wish to do it. But I must also say it is not a good idea. So we must do everything possible to understand that you should only borrow to earn money. So since paying school fees is not an investment, I've heard also people argue that, when I take my children out to
It's
school,
an investment.
really it's an investment. It's not.
It's not generating income back.
Yes, because you're just trying to shed a better picture
Okay.
to your child's future.
All right, Godwin, let's get to where the rubber meets the road, and let's talk of this person who is in a bad debt. And I know we have a majority. It could be a personal debt, I just borrowed for my own stuff. It could be a business debt, but a bad one at that. Where do they start? Is all hope lost?
No, but let's not pretend. Being in a debt is never a good thing, because there are enormous effects, negative effects, that range from depression to disease and death. Actually, most people die of debt, but what people will mention at the funeral is of a symptom. High blood pressure,
Depression.
You see the person collapsed. You see heart disease, heart problems, but the really cause, the really disease, could have been dead. Most of these big celebs, the Mike Jackson of this world, I mean, the major cause of their death was dead. So what we're talking about is something that we must be very honest with ourselves. It's a serious problem. That you will lose your marriage, you lose your house, you lose your friends, you lose your job. Financial embarrassment at work.
Yes.
When every other time people are coming to arrest you at work and you're hiding, you never attend to your desk because you fear death, that will eventually, your employer will say, we love you, Mala, we love you, John. However, we can't keep this embarrassment all the time.
So where do they start? So how do they manage this bad debt, so to speak?
In the first place, I should also mention that make sure you get your debts from one source.
Good.
Borrow from one place. For example, if you're doing a business, even if it is for a good cause like business, please get to one bank where you get
Everything.
your money from, because that helps you to manage your BA ratio. The ratio, the BA ratio, what allows you to borrow. The commercial banks will tell you your BA ratio, to understand it.
Correct.
So what allows you to take in money, in simple terms, because you don't take in money because you're going to receive a salary, but you see there's some amount of money that should be left. You get it?
Yes.
For you to survive.
Right.
You get it?
Right.
So I don't want to get into the commercial bank language, but there's even a period they give you to think through. Even you can take back these papers after you have realized that it's not hopeful.
Yes.
And say, no, I have come to my senses. I've been advised by my financial consultant. We don't need a loan now. Or you didn't need this much money, we need this.
And these commercial banks are actually very good at enticing many.
No, but look here. When they are looking for someone to lend money,
Yes.
they send a very beautiful young lady, very handsome young man,
Yes.
for you to take a loan.
Yes.
But when you have failed to pay, they don't send this beautiful, handsome person to pick their money. Probably they send a Kanyama man, someone who really looks ugly in their face, to tell you, pay our money. Because you see, you took in the money, but you must pay back.
Yes.
So where do you start from?
Yes, where do you start from?
This person should have, even if they didn't borrow from one source, we help them do a payment plan.
Okay.
That's very important.
So try as much as possible to access a financial expert.
Yes.
Yes.
Someone who understands financial literacy.
Correct.
So have your payment plan. When your payment plan, this will clearly show how much money you earn in the first place, how much money you owe your creditors, but also we should come out with a plan how you intend to pay that money. It can also be necessary for us to negotiate.
And that's the other big question, because many would say that, okay, fine, I have a debt from this commercial bank. They already gave me a payment plan. And many say that, why should I involve a financial expert? But hey, you're saying there's something very critical. There's a leeway that you can take advantage of, and that is renegotiating.
Yes, because you see, when you have debts, let me tell you, debts can reach you a level whereby you can't even think straight. You can't even think straight. And you start hiding. So you need someone really a little credible to walk into your bank and say, this is my person,
Right.
it's my client. We've gone through some financial counseling. The way people go for marriage counseling. I mean, financial counseling is extremely necessary because it will undo the other one. If you don't cover here,
Yes.
this will undo your good marriage because it's a problem.
Right.
And even then, you've seen people separate, you've seen people divorce. If you go down deep, the
To the root
major
cause.
is really money issues.
So try as much as
So-
possible to access a financial literacy.
Yes, do a
expert.
plan and follow that plan. This person will negotiate with your creditors the plan and give them assurance that this person will keep the plan.
Okay.
But also give them assurance that we will keep following up with our client to make sure that they make it good.
All right.
Because it's more worse than you losing your house.
Correct.
Because if they took your house anyway, they will sell it and you become a destitute. So it's because the money, you see, when we take in this money, people think maybe these people are going to get tired of calling you and say, let's give up. No. You took in money, truth be told, you paid.
You know, Godwin, you are an expert in this space, and we're talking of someone who is in really some bad debt, and they're looking at themselves and they're thinking, but my net worth cannot afford to repay this debt. I think mine has come to that place whereby there's a point of no return. What is the solution for them? Someone who is looking at their net worth and they're thinking, I can't afford to even repay. What quick solutions are there? Is it all doomed for them?
It's a complete restructure that you need to do within yourself. You get it? Because the major cause is not that people borrow to start businesses. Painfully. The major cause of debt is living not within our means. Way out of our means. So we start there. Man, if you have a debt, why should you be driving a car of 3,000 cc? 5,000. You see, we need to be realistic. If you have debt, why would you be renting in Kololo an apartment? If you have debt, why would you be taking your children to international schools? So that's why you need someone who understands these things, tell you that, you know what, man, you're going to die.
Right.
This is not going to help you. You restructure that person's total life. You get it?
Yes.
They'll go back after they have recovered. Can you run a marathon when you're sick?
No,
you
you
first
can't.
get treatment. So let's imagine you're sick. We treat you first. Then you can go for Olympics. But for now, you're a patient, financial patient. So we need to look at all those things and keenly reshape your lifestyle.
So there's hope.
There is hope, much hope, because you see much of it is within us. What causes this? You are not living within your means.
A lifestyle
Yes,
that we have
because
to
there's
maintain.
not enough money.
Right. Okay. All right. At least now there's some hope for someone who is both them that are in good and bad debts. They now know what to do. But let's, as we come to a close, if I look at myself and I'm thinking, okay, fine, I'm not in debt, I could be maybe safe. How then do I avoid getting into debt, borrowing money? Maybe a piece of advice to them who are not yet in that shell.
Financial literacy. You see, you don't need to be a financial expert to really know that you borrow for a reason. Let's know some basic. The way you should know some basic law to know that, you know, when I'm driving on the road, I must keep my lane. You don't need to be a traffic officer to know that. But I mean, you don't need to be a lawyer to know that. But you drive within your lane. So there's some basic financial literacy knowledge that we must have. For example, why would I have my wedding reception at Serena? If I can't afford, why should I? But if I can afford, for heaven's sake, why
okay.
shouldn't I?
Yes.
You get my point? Why should you, after your wedding, go into hiding? And people think you're still for honeymoon. But you're for hiding.
Yes.
So these issues we talk about, they are real issues. There's even someone who is about to commit this sin on coming this weekend. on
Even
Saturday.
today.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to send
Yes,
some
there's
papers
someone
today.
who is committing it right now, and they could be watching us.
Right.
Maybe what we're saying, we say, wait a moment. go through what we're talking about. There's someone who is walking who is planning to jump on a border to go to the bond because they feel they're so late and they must have that vehicle before 5 o'clock.
Right.
Because there's a big gathering at workplace and they also need to use that parking slot and come out and say, the young man has finally made it. But made it to where?
So what you're saying is the real solution? Be true to yourself.
Yeah, live within your means.
Right. Wow.
Live within your means, because you see, when you adopt that living within your means, it will be very interesting. You will know that no, I can walk here. I don't need an Uber. You get it?
Yes.
Yes, I can really take a border. I don't need a limo to take me to my house.
Yes.
You get my point?
Yes.
So when you live within your means, you see, the moment you acquire that skill of living within your means, for me, you have captured. It is as easily said, but very hard to do. It's a process. Because look here, we can be very practical. Even if you brought people who have the highest paid, the CEOs in this city, and you tell them, you are paid on this date. After 10 days, it is unlikely that any of them will have the money on their account.
Yes.
And this is a discussion. People can shy away from it. But if they are honest with you, they will say, what we're talking about is real. Where is the problem? Then you find the driver they drive still has some money on the account.
Right.
As little as you may call it. That's why I keep saying there's no little money. There's no so
big
much money.
Thank you so much, Godwin Muhanguzi. Man, I think now you've gotten it. Honestly, just try as much as possible to be true to yourself and live.
Yes,
within
I mean, don't
your
live
means.
someone's life.
Yes.
If really, I don't know, Mala's parents. Mala's parents could be,
Right.
could have been a former prime minister, and the mother was a former prime minister. I mean, let me be myself.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Godwin Muhanguzi, financial literacy expert right here in the country. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's save each other. We've been having a trend of people getting into depression, but he's saying chances are these people are in debt. So let's help each other. We're going to share this segment on YouTube. So tell a friend to tell a friend, share it so we can get this message across. All right. All hope is not lost. There's still some hope. Get into, try to access a financial literacy expert and let them walk the journey with you. All right. That's it for business updates and also for Morning at NTV. It was such a pleasure to have you on board from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Have a blessed day. Let's do this again tomorrow, same time. All right. My name is Malaki Vilodera. On my behalf, Rita Kanya, David Rukasi, our director, producer, and so many people who are behind the scenes to bring this to you every single morning. We're saying goodbye, make it work, and see ya. Bye.